What's going on, guys? My name is Jack and welcome back to a brand new video. And today we are going to be diving into a brand new review of the new platformer published by Devolver, created by Nomada Studios. I am of course talking about the beautiful, the stunning, the absolutely fantastic Gris. Now, in the first drafts and first concepts for this review, I realized that there was a lot of hyperbole, a lot of over dramatization about how extravagant the setting of this game was, how well done the art was, how just simply mesmerizing the score, the production, the storytelling. All of this very complicated wordplay in my mind of trying to explain to you guys why this game has quickly become one of the biggest surprises and one of my absolute favorites of not only 2018, but I would even put this game onto my top 10 list of games I have played, period. And finally, I realized this. It isn't a complicated explanation why Gris is so fantastic. It's a simple explanation. This game has every single box checked to be genuinely fantastic. You have a concept that is thoroughly explored and well executed in terms of its story. Its story is very much show, don't tell in the best way possible. It takes every single advantage of the medium of gaming to develop its story and develop its world slowly, methodically, but in a way that doesn't feel like you are on rails the entire time, and it still takes into account player exploration and the player agency. It has tight controls, good feeling gameplay. As a platformer, its mechanics succeed. The power-ups that you get over the course of your play through the chapters are intriguing. They vary up the gameplay, they vary up the puzzles, and they add more freedom into how you look at and explore each and every chapter. Each of the chapters themselves have unique mechanics, unique settings, unique music, and things that make them undeniably stand out from each other in ways that aren't annoying or contrived or really played out. Even when they take advantage of mechanics seen commonly in other platformers, for whatever reason, Gris manages to use them in a way that feels fresh. Something about how they implement everything in this game feels unique. It stays with me. It's engaging. And even when it comes down to their puzzles and their secrets, they're also organically done that nothing ever feels forced. The puzzles relate themselves in a very, very smart way. You're never caught in a moment where you just kind of get screwed and miss a jump because the game didn't telegraph what was going to happen to you. You see the puzzle right in front of you, you're given enough chance to understand what's going on, and you could feasibly beat every single puzzle in this game on the first try. That doesn't mean the puzzles are bad. In fact, some of them are quite unique and well thought out. Some of them are difficult, some of them are simple, but they all respect the player's intelligence and ability to figure out what's going on. It's the same thing with the secrets. I was able to find about 75-80% of the secrets pretty successfully on my own by just taking the time to explore every single inch of the level. But at the same time, there were many of them that I missed because I rushed through parts or I didn't think to check certain corners. But at the same time, when I finally did just break down and look at a guide to get the last handful of secrets so that I could truly 100% complete the game, as soon as I got to the ones I didn't have, I was like, oh, I'm a fucking idiot. I was right there. I could have seen it, but for whatever reason ignored it or didn't pick up on it. If there's one thing this game has done incredibly well, it is making itself an entire experience. I've played the game through now 3 times. The first time, I didn't really know much about the story. The thing that really captured me was the really, really fantastic aesthetic and art style, as well as the amazing music and scenery. That was enough to get me engaged. The story was ambiguous, the story didn't spell itself out, but you could kind of pick up on some of the themes. You'd pick up on the themes that Gris is clearly a girl in some kind of turmoil. Her world was full of color, and in the very beginning, you see it crumble all down as she comes plummeting down into a blank and desolate world. But at the end of each chapter, she grows, she overcomes a new challenge, and thus color is returned to the world, and the world gradually grows and restores itself in just these beautiful, beautiful displays. And along the way, you slowly begin to understand the narrative before you. You understand that Gris is a girl dealing with loss in its truest sense. On my second playthrough, it finally hit me what this game was trying to convey. This game, when you boil it down, is a story about loss. Gris is going through the 5 stages of grief and trying to grip with the fact that her mother has passed. Her mother was her rock. Her mother was her whole world. Her mother is what showed her the color and showed her everything that was beautiful around her. And losing her mother was crippling. Everything became swathed in blackness. The color drained from her world, and she fell to her rock bottom. What is brilliant about this is not a single ounce of this story is directly told to you. There is no dialogue, there's only a handful of cutscenes, and for the most part you are meant to figure this out on your own. The game even cleverly uses Steam achievements as a method of storytelling. If you look through the Steam achievements as you go through the game, most of them are locked, and for good reason, because if the Steam achievements were unlocked, it would pretty much spoil the whole story. Now, this is going to be a spoiler warning for this review. I'm going to talk about the Steam achievements, I'm going to talk about the story in depth from here on out, and I truly, truly believe this game should be experienced as blind as humanly possible. You should go into this game knowing as little as you can get away with while also understanding the technical aspects of the game that may or may not influence whether you purchase it or not. So, for people who may want to click away right now, all I can say is that in terms of it being a platformer, Gris is incredibly well executed with a thoughtful and provoking story that's worth playing. So, once again, this is a final spoiler warning. Look away from this video right now if you don't want the game to be spoiled completely. Okay, so the Steam achievements are a massive clue as to whether you are essentially getting the 100% completion of the game in a sense. So, looking through the Steam achievement list, you obviously have the achievements you get for unlocking each color, red, blue, and yellow, and then eventually finishing the game. But along the way, there are key moments within the story where you can make a decision that will result in an achievement. The first one I 100% found on my own, and it's during the second chapter. At about the middle point of the second chapter, you will have accessed your first ability, which is the ability to stomp the ground, which acts as a method to pass the incessant sandstorm in that level, as well as smash through broken ledges and activate switches that need you to essentially ground pound, like in any other platformer. So, you ground pound through this like cathedral floor, and walking in you see these statues of this crying woman. You don't know who this woman is, but you see this crying woman in different poses, in different stages of sadness and just turmoil. And once you get to the middle section, you can smash through the floor and you will plummet several, however many feet below the surface and land in this antechamber far below this cathedral type area. And it's one of the most striking rooms in the entire game. It's stark white with all of these statues of this crying woman everywhere, and your reflection on the floor is a mirror world with a shadow version of yourself and these black crows, this pure symbolism of grief and despair, this alter ego that Gris has been carrying with her since this tragedy occurred. And in here, if you explore well enough, which I did the first time because I actually didn't know how to get out of this room, you can see that you can climb on a couple of the statues of this crying woman. And with your newfound ability, you can smash through them. You only have 3 smashes in this room before you are actually carried out. And if you're smart and you smash the 3 statues that are available for you to smash, you will get an achievement. It's an eye beginning to open, and the achievement is simply called Anger. This is one of the most creative uses of something not even in the game as a form of storytelling. The achievement is called Anger, second stage. Right away, this gives away the main themes of the game: the 5 stages of grief and coping with loss. The other achievements for this are extremely well hidden, just like this one, and were admittedly hard for me to find. I only found 3 organically by myself, but had to resolve myself to guides to find the other 2 just for the sake of getting this video in a timely manner. So, obviously, the 5 stages of grief, as told by the achievements, are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. All of these are fantastic and told in very, very unique ways. One of the most striking ones for me is the bargaining achievement. During the 3rd chapter, right before you have your first, what I guess you could call a boss encounter in this game, it's basically an escape encounter with your... How do I explain it? It's essentially an encounter where you have to move through the stage very fast while essentially fighting the blackbirds, which have formed into this giant blackbird, which if you've seen any of the trailers for this game, you've seen before. You've seen the big blackbird flowing through the air and like this ink monster, and then he lands and scares you off. But right before this encounter, you will float into this palace room in the sky, and you will see once again a setting with several of these statues of this crying woman. And at one, you can hold B on your controller. I'm not sure what the key is on keyboard, but Gris will attempt to sing, which if you've finished the game, you would know that singing is actually the final power that you unlock, and singing allows you to breathe life into the world. But what you learn as you investigate more into the depths of this game's story is that the singing is also a big link between Gris and her mother. And she tries to sing in front of the statue, almost as if beckoning the statue to sing with her. As if she can't handle the fact that her mother is gone, that she wants her to sing with her more. And it's such a simple thing, but at the same time, it makes such a lasting impression. This game doesn't have striking dialogue, or intense cutscenes, or really, really strong backstory. It's a simple story told incredibly well. And it's moments like these that reinforce just how strong the narrative is of this game. Other standout moments for me are really the first time that everything clicked for me. So let me set the stage for you. It's my 2nd time playing through the game. I'm capturing the footage for this review, and I get to the final cutscene. You've beaten the game, you've unlocked all the stars, and you're ready to progress to the end of the game and essentially end it. The story's over. You've done everything you need to do. You've restored all color to the world. But at the very end, when you go to climb the star ramp back home, the blackness, the grief catches up with you one more time, and it swallows you whole. It tries to suck all the color out of the world one more time and swallow you with it. You see this imagery of Gris once again falling through the blackness into the own depths of this sadness, falling past all these broken statue parts. When she finally lands, she swims to the surface of this black sludge, and you see an altar with a stone statue of this woman that you've seen all throughout the game on a, laid to rest on this, on the bed, where's, like, on her, like, tombstone, essentially. I don't know how to describe it. I'll show it on screen right now so you understand what I'm saying. Well, it's essentially the memorial of her mother's death. And I didn't notice this my first time playing, but in the level before this, you're introduced to the mechanic of using your singing to blossom flowers. And you can blossom these flowers to essentially open up alternate paths in the stage and secret areas. What I didn't see my first time in this area with the funeral altar is that there are flowers around it. And you can bloom those flowers by singing. And when you do, you get the last achievement for the 5 stages of grief, which is acceptance. You accept that, or rather, Gris accepts that her mother is passed. And that, while it's sad, it's not a reason for her whole life to fall apart. You then move into this final sequence of climbing the broken pieces of your mother's statue. You get to the top and you sing to bring them all together. And right as the blackness of that grief closes in one more time, her mother reaches out and the statue sings with her to break the hold that the darkness has on Gris. And you get this beautiful sequence where the statue of her mother and Gris are singing, and the color is being restored to the world fully. You're seeing the environments of the different stages being restored to their true forms, which we haven't had to see at this point. And it's just this beautiful, breathtaking scene of Gris accepting what has happened and being ready to move on. And it was during the second playthrough that the narrative finally clicked home for me. And it really puts into perspective just how sad of a story Gris really is. This game is how Gris copes with tragedy. And it's done so in such an artful and unbelievably organic way that I believe is wholly unique to the game's medium. You could not do this as a TV show or as a movie or any other form of entertainment. The interactivity and the ability of not having to spell everything out to your audience that Gamer provides allows this game to open up its narrative bit by bit as much or as little as it does to each player. You can go through this game, just do the story, find some of the secrets, not really invest yourself too much in what's going on, just enjoy the simple platforming and the puzzles. And you might get a little bit of the story. You get the idea that, maybe Gris is sad, something happened, you don't really know much about it, but you know that you have these goals to restore the color to each stage and move on. That may be as much story as some people get out of this. But if you take the time, you engage with every aspect of the world, you take the time to collect everything, you realize that there's actually a deep and rich story here. And it's so absolutely well done. I honestly can't sing his praises enough. I think what Nomada Studio have accomplished here is nothing short of spectacular. I think it might be one of the best organic uses of storytelling that I have ever seen. And at the end of the day, I think what really caps off this game for me is its last secret. So if you go through and essentially complete what I would consider to be the 100% of this game, that is, find every single secret memento, you unlock a special cutscene. And to be honest with you guys, this cutscene is so genuinely fantastic that I would consider it to be a disservice to you all who may play this game to spoil it. So I will not talk about it. I will not talk about it in detail anyway. I will just say that if you've bought Gris, if you've played it, or you plan to play it, take the time to hunt down every single secret in every single chapter. And at the end of it all, you will be able to unlock a special ending that is just so pure and so wholesome that it really made the grind to find all the secrets very worth it, because it just ties all the story together in a very, very wonderful way. It has just this beautiful hand-drawn animation to it that's even more so than the actual game itself. Like, there's no 3D animation at all in this cutscene. It's all hand-drawn, kind of slideshow style animation, and it was just really, really, really stunning. It came with a very, very beautiful piece of the soundtrack, and it was just a great way to cap off what has been a truly amazing experience in this game. At the end of the day, I find very little to criticize about Gris. It had a very well thought out scope of what it wanted to accomplish, and it accomplished everything well. It wanted to be a beautiful atmospheric platformer without the emphasis being on difficulty or the player dying or struggling to get through areas. In that regard, the game is relatively easy, but it is designed to be. The big selling point of Gris is its experience from a narrative perspective and an aesthetic perspective. You're meant to sit back and just enjoy the sounds and sights of this game, enjoy intriguing but not overly complicated puzzles, and engage with as little or as much of it as you want. You choose to go through everything, you get an amazingly rich and deep story. You choose to do the bare minimum, at the end of the day you get a very, very well executed platform with great music and great art. There are honestly no faults to this game that I could possibly give, other than that some sections aren't to my liking. Some mechanics, like the sandstorm in Chapter 2, I find to be a little bit annoying after a while, especially when you're going through to hunt all the secrets. But on a first playthrough, I thought they were good, and I thought they were a unique way to break up the flow. There's really nothing to criticize here. The game executes everything it wants very soundly, and for $16, it might be one of the best indie experiences, not only of 2018, but that I've ever played. So, lastly, I would just like to thank Nomada Studio and Devolver Digital for bringing this wonderful game to us. I remember seeing early concept trailers for this game around 6 months ago and being extremely excited. I put it in the back of my mind and I was like, you know, I'm gonna keep an eye on this because it seemed intriguing. I liked the art style, I liked the music in the trailer. And I fully thought that I would just kind of pick up this game the first day I got it, play a little bit of it, feel it out, and maybe I would go through the rest of it or I wouldn't. I subsequently sat there for 4 hours, finished the whole game, watched the credits, had chills the entire time, and knew for sure that I stumbled upon a truly wonderful experience. I highly recommend you guys check it out if you have any interest in narrative-focused single-player games or any interest in platformers. This game appeals to a wide range of people, and as I've stated clearly here, it definitely left a more than positive impression on me. I don't really have much else to say about it. I think that if you guys want to try it, you should. And that's kind of where that's at. Anyways, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys check the links in the description, find the links to my Twitter and my Twitch. I am trying to stream, 5 days a week as much as I can. Sometimes it's hard, especially because I'm trying to help out around the house with family. It's obviously Christmas time, but also, I'm trying to help out my parents with some important family stuff and make sure that they're also there because, technology, it's not my parents' strong suit, so I gotta help out there where I can. So some days I can't stream even if I want to, but I am trying to stream as much as I can. I do maintain the once a week uploads, but I may start trickling in some extra content here and there just because I have some videos in the works that aren't really to the quality that I would want my main weekly video to be about. They're kind of more like highlights and kind of, cut commentary, stuff like that. Content that generally takes me a lot less time to make, so as to not really justify itself being the one video a week. So expect something like that, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday, maybe Monday. Just kind of depends on whether I finish the edit or not. Yeah, other than that, guys, thank you guys for watching. My name is Jack, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.